Hello and welcome to Cutting to the Bull in the Post-Truth Apocalypse. I'm Ben, and as always I'm hanging out with Mike.
Hello.
Claire.
Hey.
And P.
Hello.
I'm going to apologise. It is spring in the UK and you can hear birds in the background.
It's a lovely cool 22 degrees today.
Yes, it's been lovely up final. I'm slightly drunk. And today we're going to talk about 30 East Drive and the Black Monk of Pontefract, which I always thought was in Wales, but it turns out it's in Yorkshire.
I thought it was in Wales as well.
Yorkshire.
Pontefract.
Pontefract.
Bastard.
Sounds Welsh.
Bastard. Cricket. Flat caps and whippets.
Mushy peas.
In fact, I'm surprised
Pie
a
and
whippet
chips.
wasn't involved in this story at any point. Genuinely. I love you, Yorkshire, though. You're alright.
You do good tea.
No, that's not even Yorkshire tea, mate. It's brewed. It's made in India. It's just a name. Sorry. There goes the last bastion of
Don't
British
say that
patriotism.
to Sean Bean. Chop your head off with a scimitar.
Well, no, he just get his sharp sword out when when he was in Sharp, and the only role in which he didn't die.
They have got the rhubarb triangle though.
Have they?
Mm.
Is that where it's really good to grow it or something?
Yeah.
Nice.
Like it's a little triangle like Huddersfield, Wakefield, Leeds, something like that.
It's like the perfect place to grow. Oh, wicked.
Wow, well, if you like rhubarb, get some Yorkshire stuff, support UK business. We do all the help we can get.
Fucking hate rhubarb to us.
Yeah, me too, it's shite. But still, if you like it, get
Rhubarb
Yorkshire made.
gumbo.
Right, let's thank some select listeners. We've had a lot this week. Lipa City in the Philippines, Durban, South Africa, Brunswick, Georgia in the US, Medford, New York, United States, Spring Valley, New York. Oh, hang on, I like that one. Gallivant's Valley in South Carolina, that's a new one. Welcome to you. Ferry? What did I say? Fanny?
Valley?
Gallivant's Ferry?
Gallivant's Fanny.
Gallivant's Ferry, I think I said, I'm not sure.
Gallivant's Ferry, South Carolina.
That's the one. Denver, Colorado, Pearl City in Hawaii. A lot of American listeners this week. Vilnius in Lithuania. Panama City, Panama. Irving, Texas. Atlanta, Georgia, United States. Hastings of the Battle of Fame. Watch out for them arrows, they'll get you.
Not in the eye though.
Maybe. Birmingham in the United Kingdom, that's not far from us.
Ciao.
Telford in the UK, that's our hometown, give you a shout out. Boardman, Oregon in the US. Bengaluru in India, up there again. He's always about. I like the Indian guy, Bengaluru.
Or woman.
Or woman. Indian person. Of any gender or whatever.
Dude or dudette.
Yeah. Madrid, Spain. Portugal, Missouri, and top is Ashburn, Virginia, smashing it again. Big shout out to you. Get in touch with the show if you're in Ashburn, Virginia.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a live stream one day and you can talk to us live. That'd be fun.
Have a chat.
You want a webcam chat with
Not
us?
talk, no, they can message us, can't they, live? And you could like interact.
Depending on the time difference.
I'm sure we could figure it out one day with someone.
Well, we'll have a look.
He wants to interact with
Yeah, you never know.
the listeners.
They might want to ask questions about the subject we're talking about live.
I don't want to interact with them, they're probably nutters.
No,
can't be
It makes it more fun.
I'll have you know, I think that I know who the listener is, Ashton in Virginia. He's been a very long and loyal fan of the show from day one. He's messaged us before, if I remember rightly.
Nah, I'm only joking, I'm sure you're all very nice people.
You must be very sane and intelligent to be listening to us.
No, he's a good guy. I think he had his wife listen, if I remember correctly from the previous messages we've had. Seems because, oh yeah, anyway, the ghosts of 30 East Drive in Pontefract. And it is a normal 3-bed, semi-detached council house, circa about the 1950s, built in the 50s, post-war building, rebuilding of Britain. I have to get the war in there somewhere, you know that. Mm-hmm. When we mass built a load of social housing for people to live in, council houses, solid 3-bedroom, semi-detached, bit of garden.
They've got big gardens, haven't they? The old council houses.
Yeah. The worst thing they ever did was sell them off and not rebuild.
Yeah, that's the problem, mate.
That's a tourist for you, though.
Well, this particular 3-bedroom semi-detached was really haunted by some kind of Tory Mike. It's a domain of a somewhat evil entity who has come to be known affectionately as Fred.
If he's an evil entity, how has he become known affectionately?
Because they basically...
They have an affection for this evil spirit.
No, they need him to call him. That's what it boils down to.
I'm not on about the fact his name Fred. I'm on about the fact it's ascribed, has become known affectionately.
I don't think it was by the original people. No, it
I'm going to say, I mean, it's an evil entity. What are you doing being affectionate to an evil entity?
Because he's kind of calms down sometimes.
He's kind of
not an evil
he's
entity.
not always been nasty to everybody, is he?
No,
Really? Sometimes he's a bit playful, but then he gets a bit moody.
Yeah, there's certain rules because you can go and stay at this house.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Costs you 60 quid a night.
It's fine. It's a normal B&B kind of price, isn't it? So.
You're not getting breakfast though, is you're just staying up all night in a haunted
Take
house.
your bowl of cereal with you. Right.
Anyway, he has been making his presence known for more than 50 years, and this is one of the most haunted, most active paranormal zones, hotspots in the UK.
In the world.
Allegedly.
Apparently. One of the most haunted places in the world.
Allegedly.
Well,
Mike
He
has,
told
to stick
Mike
in,
straight
Mike
away.
has to stick in the allegedly, doesn't he?
Sorry.
he's science officer, he has to, that's his
Gotta be
job.
precise, mate,
He's
yeah.
the Spock of this show. I'm the Kirk.
I'm the
Mike's the
Uhura.
Spock.
I'm
Pizza
the
Uhura. He can be what he wants to be, damn it. It's 2022.
Oh dear.
Claire, you can be Scotty if you want to. You run the engine room of this show.
I can't do it, Captain. I just don't have the power.
Well, even after 50 years, the entity that lives at 30 East Drive is anything but dormant. The official website currently lists about 300, quote, happenings reported from visitors, but there are many more. It seems that few visitors leave without having personal experiences. Common types of reported activity include foul smells. Well, if you were me on a ghost hunt overnight, you'd get that. Get a few foul smells emanating from me. Disembodied voices, scratches and other physical attacks, unexplained light anomalies, nausea and shadowy figures.
You said anomalies? You said it right the first time.
I didn't even think about it.
Gold star for Ben.
I didn't even think about it, I just read it.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe I beat this.
Maybe.
Next time you say
Then I'm going to get it wrong next time because you pointed it out.
Yeah.
say it again.
No.
Say it
No,
again.
no, I'll say that again. I want to roll.
It's
I
got
want to roll.
to be natural.
I hope he comes up again.
Fred's favourite party trick is moving marbles around. Not only will he roll them or throw them, but they sometimes appear to drop through the ceiling or appear out of thin air. That, I know, is called apportation.
Shit
They
game
drop.
though, marbles in it.
They drop through the ceiling.
Yeah? They
Well,
use apport, it's called.
yeah.
It's apporting, it's
Basically,
apportation.
I would have a kick about. I might do it with him. Right? I ain't playing marbles. People think I've lost my marbles.
You lost your marbles years ago, mate. Because you were shit at the game. That's why you don't like it. Apportation, it's a thing that happened with demons, especially in case of demonic possession in houses. I've heard that case before. I think in the case of the Enfield Poltergeist, this came before the Enfield Poltergeist as well.
We certainly started before, anyway.
This is 1966. The Enfield Poltergeist was in the 80s, I believe.
Early 80s.
Yeah. Where am I? Some visitors have even claimed to have marbles appear in their homes and other locations after leaving East Drive. So he's followed them home.
What, magic marbles now?
Magic marbles. Keys are also a favourite trigger object for Fred, probably because he's a swinger. See some keys? Oh, I'm going to put them in a bowl.
Well, he was a swinger, wasn't he? Literally.
Allegedly.
Yeah. We'll come to that in a moment, though.
One of the things that happened to the Pritchards originally, they're the family that lived there originally, we'll get to them in a second, we'll go into this stuff that's happening now, was that a bunch of old keys dropped down from the chimney. These days, Fred will often steal unattended keys, and on one occasion the keys showed up inside the vacuum cleaner, which does not work and is simply a prop.
Huh?
The paranormal activity is not just limited to the house either. Neighbours also report a shadowy figure in their gardens and have experienced mild activity in their homes.
When they say mild activity, it's just creaks and moans, isn't it? It's what house noises and shit.
You mean their heating coming on and things like
Is
that?
shit moving though? Like, you know, like sometimes you put something down and then it's not where you put it. You think, how the fuck has that moved?
Someone in the
Little
house has
things like
moved it.
that. Yeah, but when you're not in the house with other people, I've experienced shit like that myself.
No,
I've had a
never.
mini stroke. Happens all the time. No, it does, honest. I reckon here when you walk into a room and you forget completely what you got in there for.
That's a mini
Yeah.
stroke.
You've had a mini stroke.
Yeah, apparently,
Daydreams of mini strokes as well.
apparently you can have up to 60 a day.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Up to.
They're harmless, but they can make you forget and.
Who are you?
Yeah.
Where am I?
I get like that going home having a drink. Fred is also known to have been violent and destructive from time to time, presumably when he is offended or disrespected. On one notable occasion, the bed in Diane's old room was destroyed. Diane is the daughter, we're going to get to the family in a second. And the room was trashed at around 4 a.m. on a night when the house was unoccupied, or someone could have broken it. The kitchen has also been found in a state of disarray on occasion by the cleaners. Not you, Claire. You're awesome at it. You do it for a living. Claire's cleaning.
Class cleaner.
Give it a shout out. Anyone in Telford?
Message the show if you need cleaning.
Yeah?
if they need cleaning. She doesn't bathe people.
Should we pay her extra?
Much bath, yeah.
She won't really have to. Say, Claire. The house attracts paranormal investigators from all over the world and is featured on many paranormal television shows. Apparently, most haunted at 30 East Drive is. You were saying before that, before the show about that.
Yeah, most haunted episode. It is genuinely really good. If it is genuine, then there is some pretty chilling accounts on there that you can't explain. If there's not one of the crew doing it in the background, which, as far as you're aware, they really ain't, because there's not many of them in there. There's only like 4 of them in there, and there's often all 4 of them on camera.
Back in the day, though, remember when they had the bigger budget, they had like a team, they had the camera.
Yeah.
Remember those people that
You're not gonna have a
watching the
team there
monitors and everything there.
You're not going to have a big team like that in a 3-bedroom house, are you, with all the wires? That's the other thing. They had to go in a small team because they were physically locked in. The keeper of the keys, the next door neighbour.
Keeper of the keys.
Yeah. She looks after the place. The next
Are you
door
the
neighbour
are you
does.
the key master?
And
Are you the gatekeeper?
She locked them in, and she was like, "Are you sure you want me to lock you in, lovey? Are you sure? Because once I lock this, you ain't getting out." Kind of thing. And
they're supposed to keep the letterbox as the cameras are turned off, probably.
No, she locks them in. That's what she does. That's part of the theatrics of the staying there for the night and things like that. You get locked in, apparently.
Well, what if one of you gets possessed and goes mad and kills the others?
Well, I think there
Risk
is.
we're taking for good TV then.
there must be some kind of contingency.
I know you do sign a waiver when you stay there.
Yeah.
What's the incident then that caused the furore or whatever?
What
was the incident they're on about in that? So the clip leads many to believe it's a hoax, but the activity that occurs here is very real indeed.
Well, I don't know what clip that's on about, but I can give you a brief sum up of a few things that it could be talking about that are within it. So, in the very beginning, when they're filming, they've just arrived to the property and they're like filming like the intro almost, and they're filming outside the property. They've not even got an inside yet. And the curtains upstairs in the bathroom, it's like twitching and going mad. The windows aren't open and things like that, and it does look like somebody is like holding it and shaking it. And that was the first strange incident.
That could be like the window's got a leak in it. The signal's
Mate,
gone.
not the way it was. It's a calm day. It genuinely
You know it's
is.
calm day. It could be just a
Mate,
breeze through the window. You
That's
don't
a
know.
fucking huge breeze to do that.
Could be. I mean, it could have been someone
Anyway,
underneath the window
there's
still
lots
shaking
of,
them.
There's lots of what's ifs because
Yeah.
it could have been. But if you're led to believe that they checked this room afterwards, there was no breeze.
Yeah, they checked it once their crew members got out of it.
That's what I'm saying. It depends whether you believe whether or not
Yeah, I know.
they're
I know
being
you're saying,
truthful
yeah.
as
Yeah,
documentary makers. If they're going in purely truthful, we're going to document this to see whether or not anything happens. We're not going to fake anything. That is how they are supposed to be doing it. So if they are being true to that, then it's fucking strange.
Do you know who I believe more than them? Your average Joes who go in there.
Well, yeah,
With-
and I have a
yeah.
friend who went there, and
Yeah.
I messaged her, and I'll read the message to you
Yeah.
in a bit, because
This
I
is-
messaged her and asked
I'd-
what her experience was.
I'd rather believe someone who's gone there. I mean, because not everyone who goes there is a firm believer. I mean, I go there because I think I'm a spiritual void. I don't think I'd ever see anything, ever. I just think this. I just go there and probably fall asleep at midnight and wake up about 7 in the morning and go, oh, that was a good night's sleep. Nothing happened there. And you, I'd be like, my God, there was a fucking entity hovering above your night bed. I'm like, was there?
I
Right.
think it's a parasuggestion.
But
I
they-
think
well-
people think that it's haunted, therefore they're more likely to have these experiences or put it down to.
perhaps. But then when you're filming it and you are seeing things on the camera that are happening, and like I said, if there's nobody actually physically doing it in the background, then what the fuck is it? That's my point.
The problem I have with any haunted location is that as soon as money's involved, it's got to be haunted,
Well,
hasn't it?
perhaps. But
Because
this-
otherwise you're not
it's
going to
only
make any
been
money.
it's only been over the recent years that they've started to make money out of this.
I know, but I mean,
this has been
but
known for a long
for,
time.
For all you know, there's a tape recorder in me on the wall that goes off every 6 hours that has like
Yeah.
footsteps playing.
Yeah, totally.
Once there's money involved, you've got to have an experience.
But it depends on.
If I went there and had nothing, I'd be like, I want my fucking money back.
It depends on. Well, you don't know, do you? At the end of the day, but if you want to believe what's supposed to be happening there, then these
That's
are
it.
the accounts.
These
aren't they?
people want to believe,
Well, it's whether you want to believe it or not, but it's whether it's truthful or
and
not.
they trick
That's-
themselves into
it's a shame.
believing. I think.
It's a shame that we have to question whether it is truthful or not when there is a
No.
program out there that is saying we are being truthful. We're all second guessing it. It's a shame
But
that
all
we have
you've
to
given me
do
so
that.
far is some curtains twitching. What else?
No,
is it?
well, I haven't been able to. Get
Sorry,
to any
Pete,
of
go
the
on.
other
No, that's
instances.
I'll give you a
that's
chance.
our fault.
Go on.
So they'd set up lots of locked off cameras in different locations to try and look at as much as they could. There's a doll that literally gets thrown off the side, and again it's caught on camera. There's nobody in this room. And you can
Always
see
the dolls.
clearly there's nobody in this room. There's a crucifix that gets thrown onto a bed. There's loads of marbles and things like that that get moved and thrown back throughout the whole of this 3-hour episode, because they do an extensive episode on it, and there's lots of marbles getting thrown left, right and centre. There's at least 10 times you see marbles appearing from places and getting thrown, and
Where there were no marbles before.
yeah, 100%. They set up some balls.
Claire looks surprised.
Like I said, if you're believing their documentary like as they're saying it is, that's their truth, yeah, that we're meant to
That's their truth
perceive,
that they're
yeah?
portraying.
that we're
yes.
perceiving.
So what balls
There
were
was-
they setting up?
They set up some balls in a room to see if they moved, and again they have the locked off camera, and they do move. They just randomly start moving at one point,
Floor could
and
be
it's not
uneven.
like but it's not like they set it up and it starts moving. It's like 4 hours later they just start moving, and then they stop.
No, when they come
and then
back
they
to that
start
camera
moving.
feed, they start moving, or when they.
Well, no, they've had this camera feed locked onto it for 24 hours, and they're showing you what they found within that period.
So is it not edited?
Like I said,
You're showing
I'm
your
going to
shit-
say once more, if
Yes,
their
yes,
documentary
I know,
has been what
Yeah,
they're...
yeah,
so
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I'm looking at it purely
I'm playing devil's
as that.
advocate. I apologise.
Yeah,
I
I'm
haven't.
playing it purely as that.
Yeah.
So that's another bit of evidence they caught. Within that same room, they were all in the room, and the camera kind of, where one of the cameras is positioned, it looks out towards the door and the hallway of the upstairs. And all you can see is like the banister rail, and that goes down. It's got one of those like banister guard, so it's, and then you can see it goes downstairs behind
Yeah.
it. And the 4 of them were in this room, and you could see the shadow of a man
Yeah,
literally
Silas did that.
come out. And it's like, what the... Well, if there's nobody else in this house, what causes that? There was a knife that appeared in the middle of the sofa. So when you're splitting the sofa cushions, there was like a big fat kitchen knife sat upwards, and they were about to go and do a vigil in the living room and sit down. They'd been and walked round And then they went back out, and then they came back in because they're like, well, let's go sit down. Let's sit down and listen. And as they were about to sit down, they noticed there was this fucking great carving knife. And then when they, looking through the footage, they showed the footage like a moment before when they were kind of walking around and looking, and the cameraman was just like this, kind of panning around. And then they kind of went that way, and he was filming them, and then they were like, oh, well, let's go in there then. He went back in there, and then there was this knife. And that could have really hurt them, because it's pitch black, and it's only because they noticed it on the camera as they were looking, they were like, what the hell? So again, if you're led to believe that nobody from their crew has planted
Why have they got
that,
all the lights off?
because they've got all the night vision cameras to...
I have the lights on myself.
It's kind of adds to...
That adds to the theatrics of the show,
etc.
And I personally, I'd have all the fucking lights burning.
But historically, to any accounts, ghost sightings happen 90% of the time when the lights are out, when it's dark. So that's why, if you're going to investigate to try and find ghosts, you're going to make sure it's dark, because that's when you're most likely to see them, because you don't see them when the lights are on. People see them when the lights are off.
Where's the statistics
I might
for
give
that?
you an answer there. To
Well,
why-
obviously,
Yeah, go on then, Mike.
You know what I mean? The way that it's in the shadows and things, isn't it?
Yeah. But cameras picking up things is different
Yes.
to our naked eye misseeing something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you're
that's-
always going to miss these
So
things at night.
that's a good argument to that.
Yeah.
You can only believe what you know as a person
Yeah.
watching something on telly. I would like to think that they are being truthful.
If
For
they're
me.
presenting it as fact, it should be factual, is
Well,
what you're
this
saying.
is it.
Yeah.
This is it.
It doesn't help though that
Was it last year?
Last year or the year before,
I don't know.
not that long ago.
The only spirits he saw were the ones on the floor.
Most Haunted,
Yeah.
the TV show.
And there is
some of the accounts that you see on
yeah,
that. And
well-
if you want to find it, you'll easily find it. You just type in Most Haunted, 30 East Drive, and it'll come up. You'll find it on
Yeah.
YouTube. And yeah, check it out yourself, see what you think.
Yes, well, that's it. It's up to the listeners to decide, isn't it?
Yep.
Totally.
Grab a flying saucer.
She's eating my flying saucers.
At least there's been one flying saucer sighting around here. Now, over the years, there are many different explanations given regarding who this entity is. The entity was known to the press as Mr. Nobody, and the family called him Fred. And in that time, he came to be known as the Black Monk, mainly because when his apparition appears, he's dressed in a long black robe. It's metal!
He's not a brother then.
He's a brother. Well, maybe not, no, we don't know, he could be.
Well, again, there is suggestion that he was part of the local abbey, which wasn't that far up the road.
No. One of the most popular explanations suggests that he was a Cluniac monk who was hanged across the street for raping and murdering a young girl.
Jesus.
His body was then discarded down the well that sits under the lounge of 30 East Drive. That's Chester, the show catch. You can hear scratching Mike's chair. Show mascot.
See, this is the contradictory bit next, isn't it? So I looked it up just, and there is the monastery just up the road,
True.
which is where apparently this guy is linked.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I mean, however, other theories say there were never monks in the area and that the name derives from his appearance. One researcher claims that Fred is the twin of a murderer and was blamed for his brother's misdeeds,
That's a
resulting
bitch.
in his restless spirit seeking revenge.
So he was hung, then dumped in a well, which is subsequently where 30 East Drive's living room, its lounge, is built over. Allegedly.
The well had been documented, actually. You'd have to have a
Well, I
record
believe
of that
it,
one,
they have.
You'd have to have
It has
a
been
record of that because it'd be on a map somewhere.
Yeah.
if it was used as a well at some point, it'll be on a map somewhere, so we can probably agree
I was
that
more alleging the
the body was dumped there.
Yeah, there may well have been a well there, but was a monk.
And why would you dump a body in a well?
If he's been hung for murdering and raping a little child,
Yeah, but unless that...
why dump his body like that?
And yeah, I mean...
contaminating the water supply. Everyone's going to get cholera.
Then again, they didn't know that back then. Actually, it doesn't give us a date, does it, to be fair, when this monastery was there?
Well, the
So
monastery
it was
was
a
built
monastery-
in 1060. It was built in 1060. So
It would have been gone before when Henry VIII took over at the very latest, wouldn't it? Because if it's the order of monks, it'd be Catholic.
Did you have Protestant monks?
I don't think you had orders like that.
No.
Nah, Protestant monks is all C of E, isn't it? It's all just
yeah.
a few monks, and they're not as strict as the Catholic ones. No, I was clearly not, because this one's a rapist and a murderer.
No, he didn't though, it was his twin.
Oh, man. Two different stories. The Fred's story begins in August. Oh, sorry, there seems to be more than one entity residing in 30 East Drive as well. Aside from Fred, there is also a young girl, a boy, and an elemental spirit.
Right.
Right.
When did they join the...
So it's speculated that the elemental spirit is controlling the other spirits in the house.
Is an elemental spirit a higher spirit?
Is that like a demonic spirit, basically? Is that what they're getting at? Somebody who's kind of residing over the lesser spirits. That's how that kind of sounds to me.
I'll give you that, because he says he is controlling the other spirits in there. So there's a demon, Fred.
No, Fred's not there.
No, so there's a demon, there's Fred.
He's controlling Fred, the young girl and the boy.
Yeah. Fred's story begins in August 1966, when the Pritchard family moved into their new home. When the parents, Jean and Joe, were away on a short break over the bank holiday, probably a caravan in Wales. Standard summer holiday in
Or
1966
Skegness.
Britain, or we
Skegness,
hot-
just up the way.
Considering they left the kids there and they went away together, it seems like there was maybe another baby on the way. Their teenage son Philip and his grandmother witnessed the first of many strange occurrences in the house when they saw a fine layer of chalky dust fall from mid-air and settle on every surface. They were both insistent it had not fallen from the ceiling but around shoulder
Well,
height.
Fred's got dandruff, obviously.
That's some
He's head and
severe
shoulders.
dandruff, isn't
It is. When they called on Philip's auntie to come and help clean up the mess, she discovered an unexplained puddle of water on the floor.
Grandmother's pissed herself.
And the best of it is she slipped over on it.
Oh!
Every time she tried to mop up the water, a new puddle would appear before her eyes.
again!
They're both incontinent.
Is the well overflowing?
Nah.
That's a valid point. Maybe there's an upsurge in the water current. It's flooding up. It's a valid
They'd
point.
have filled it in, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
You don't know, over many years.
Yep.
That'd be filled with concrete.
Concrete's not infallible, it'll crack over time.
So we're talking like 20 years after, aren't we?
I suppose we are, unless they were really shoddily knocked up.
Nah, mate, not then, not
No.
in the 50s. They were fucking shit hot at building then.
They were all rust post-war, weren't they? Shit, build houses quick!
Well, no, but they were built well, mate. They were.
They were.
You
I'm
can't-
joking,
You
they
can't
were.
knock them, can
No,
you
they
really,
were-
for that?
Them are the houses you want in this
That was
country.
when workers were proper workers, men were men.
Men were men and built homes proper.
Built with their
Yorkshire.
bare hands and teeth.
Yorkshire builders.
So I'd never understood why would you want a new build? I mean, they're shit.
I
Yeah,
would
shit.
much rather buy a 50-year-old
Yeah.
house than a new house, definitely, all day long. A 100-year-old house, 200-year-old house, better than new builds
Well,
now.
steady on, 200.
No, as long as it's been replumbed and that, like with all the mod cons.
Yeah,
it's
but
fine.
you just mean he was living in a shit hovel,
Yeah.
like, in a two down in Whitechapel in the 1800s.
Having to throw my piss and shit out into the street. Oh, they don't put any toilets or plumbing in this house.
Runs the risk of being murdered by Jack the Ripper on his way home at night.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, this is Tory Britain. Was that bad yet?
No, I would hope that it's had all central heating and shit.
Yeah,
Is
is
it?
it?
A grander home, weren't you?
But one where you've got like foot thick fucking walls where they were built with proper bricks. Real
Proper bricks.
Real man bricks.
Not mud cottage.
You don't have to live in a theme.
Fucking hell.
Now that experience, to put the water on the floor, would be the start of a long list of strange phenomena, including lights going on and off, the tea dispenser activating by itself, and there's nothing the British hate more than their tea dispenser malfunctioning. Lights going on and off as the dad witnessed this. They used to leave the landing light on for the kids at night, so they could go to the toilet. And he watched it go off, and he was like, oh, the kids are messing about. And then he went on again, but he couldn't hear anything. He's like, oh, they're tiptoeing around. Then it was just like on, off, on, off, on, off. But he went in to check on the kids, and they were down. Maybe they
snoring.
Could have been a power cut.
could have been. This was
on and off.
the 60s. It could have been a power surge.
Yeah.
But if it's an unusual event, if it doesn't happen every night, and you're thinking, well, why is it doing that?
Yeah.
It's an unusual event, isn't it? If it happens all the time, fair dues.
Yeah.
Cupboard doors used to shake. Plant pots jumped out of their pots. Items levitating and photographs being slashed by some invisible blade. And yeah, that's again. The photographs, also their wedding photo was thrown to the floor and smashed.
There was photos being moved around and that within the most haunted again, like that, and things being thrown across the room in the living room.
The cupboard door shaking, absolutely again, widely reported. It was like it was an earth tremor as such, things would shake. The plant pots, the one was thrown down the stairs. There was no one there. Now Jean Pritchard refused to run out of her home and called in several clergymen to try and help her rid the house of this entity. However, Fred seemed to laugh in the face of any attempt at an exorcism. And that's what I like with this. Fred, whenever someone tries to exorcise him from the building, apparently later on, upside down crosses appear on the wall. Metal as fuck. Fred! Anyone?
I don't believe it.
You're into it.
Well, exorcisms and that as well, It's all just... You've got to believe in God and the Bible and all that lot to believe in exorcisms. So if you don't believe in exorcisms, you can't believe in...
Were you asleep through that episode we did the other week? Don't you believe in it now?
No.
Now, during the attempts, holy water would appear seeping out of the walls. Clergymen had their faces slapped or were pushed, and a pair of ghostly hands would appear floating in the air and conducting the hymns you'd have tried expelling. Fred's got sass. I love it. Fred's got sass. It's fantastic. For the most part, Fred's antics seem harmless and mischievous. For example, he once slowly poured an entire jug of milk over the head of a disbelieving relative of the Pritchards, which both Philip and his little sister Diane found very amusing. However, Fred's behaviour eventually took a more sinister turn. He began to focus most of his attention on Diane, and she was frequently left with scrapes and bruises.
That's where it gets a bit rapey, isn't it?
Rapey Fred.
Yeah.
Because she's about 15 at this point. Philip is a year or two older. And it is weird that a lot of poltergeist activity happens around teenage girls who are just about sort of hitting womanhood.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? There's a few cases of
smell
that.
the blood.
You know what? I don't know.
That's gross, Mike.
It's gross. It is absolutely gross. But there's the Enfield poltergeist.
Are they all paedophiles, they?
Possibly.
Once you become a ghost, you become a paedophile. Paedophile ghost.
Maybe pedo ghosts are the one that comes back. The Nancy ones.
Ghosts.
Nancy ghosts.
Ghostophiles.
But the Enfield poltergeist haunting was the same.
Yeah.
Featuring a girl who was just coming to womanhood.
She was about 11, wasn't she? 11, 12.
Yeah, coming into her teenage years. And again, the same with Diane in this occasion. The biggest one was, on one occasion, Diane was grabbed by her hair and violently dragged backwards up the stairs, kicking and screaming the whole way. Afterwards, the girl was understandably traumatised and she was left with visible finger marks around her throat.
See, how would you explain that?
Well, the sad thing is she may have done it to herself.
Pulled herself up the
You see
stairs
that-
backwards.
No, maybe that's what she said happened. But maybe she's abusing herself. You don't know, do you?
Yeah, but devil's advocate taking this as gospel, if that's happened.
Oh, yeah, that's...
How do you explain that, if that is what happened? It doesn't mention the dad getting locked in the coal cupboard.
No, that's another one. The dad getting locked in the coal cupboard, felt there was an entity in there with him.
Yeah, and it fucked his head up.
Yeah.
His head up.
He
real
did not
bad.
sleep well in this house, did he?
No, the dad was very perceptive, but he was noticing a lot. He really was, and I think the daughter or something had seen somebody in the coal cupboard, and he went in there to say like, "Look, I'll show you. Don't be silly." And as he went in there, he got pushed in there,
Yeah.
and the door slammed shut.
Dawn
And it
could have
was-
pushed him in.
And it was no,
You don't know.
but the door slammed shut, and he couldn't open it, and he was in there for a good while. And whilst
Yes,
he was in there,
yes,
he
he was.
did experience like lots of weird noises and shit like that, wasn't it? And
Didn't his daughter on the other side help him out, no?
no, they couldn't open the door. They could not open the door, and then it all of a sudden just opened about 20 minutes after them trying, and he was never the same again. It proper fucked his head up. And this is just a normal, same 40-year-old bloke, hard-working, kind
Two
of minor
kids.
kind of guy. He weren't no pussy.
Yeah.
And there weren't no way his little skinny fucking daughter was pushing him in like that, because he got flung in there and the door slammed shut and would not open. They were all trying it, pushing it. He was shouting, banging. They could not open it. And like I said, it traumatised him, and it made him a different bloke after that.
I think we should go.
I do as well. I'd love to. We'll do a live podcast from there.
Yeah.
There you go.
I get traumatised by a rapey ghost.
It might be a
He
way.
might like you, Mike, you know?
Do you
Fred might
know
like
what? It could be a way of you getting that experience that makes you think, that makes you think, I kind of like
I believe in
sex.
ghosts
No.
now because he raped
No,
me.
you never know. You might experience something there that is like unexplainable. You might get a marble
Possible.
thrown at your head,
But
and we're
even-
all sat there like, what? Well, you know, it was none of us, and might be one. You never know, do you?
Possible.
Could be something we could definitely do.
I don't want marbles chucked at me.
Nobody's died in there yet, Claire. Yet, I say.
The property is now owned by movie producer Bill Bungay. Bill Bungay?
Maybe.
Who decided to buy the house after making his movie When the Lights Went Out. That was in 2012. I found apparently it's a fairly big film.
Not a bad film, actually.
Based loosely on the Pritchard's family experiences. Initially, he thought it was an excellent marketing technique to have the premiere in the house that inspired the movie. He was sceptical about Fred's existence and believed that if he had ever been there, he was probably long gone. However, a string of strange experiences has now changed his opinions of the house. The next door neighbour, Carol, who has had more than her fair share of brushes with the Pontefract poltergeist herself, is now looking after the house, and she claims after a period of relative calm, activity started to begin shortly before the Pritchards sold their house to Bungay. Because probably he's
Bungay.
charging £60 a night to stay there.
They were as well. They were letting people come stay there if they wanted to. The family, I believe, because the Pritchards owned it when they were filming the Most Haunted one. There, they were still owning the house. They just didn't live there. It was still within the Pritchard family. And I believe at the time you could at that point go and stay there.
Well, still for money though, isn't it?
Yeah.
30 East Drive is obviously now open to visitors, and for £60 a night you can stay there, though there is a waiting list. I had a quick look today. If you want to go any time before
About a
July,
year, innit?
July next year, you are. And some of the dates are sooner, but they're waiting for dropouts. Although
Pretty
the
well
owners, the owners do not recommend staying the night and will even try to discourage you from doing so. That's probably a PR thing.
Yeah.
The website clearly states that this is not a traditional bed and breakfast, and visitors will not be covered by insurance if they choose to visit.
So if you shit the bed,
You gotta clean it up.
pay for the laundry.
You might think this is the smartest of business plans, but the waiting list is long and the house is booked solid up to a year in advance as avid ghost hunters clamour to spend the night in the property and get their chance of the encounter with the Black Monk. And there are of course some house rules. All visitors must sign a waiver releasing the owner of liability. Alcohol is forbidden from staying there sober. As is the use of Ouija boards.
Doesn't say anything about not smoking weed though.
We'll take it out.
Probably have to go inside. I'll take an acid, right? Like just pop a tab as you go in.
It doesn't say no drugs.
The owners also request that no visitors attempt an exorcism on the property. Not that it would work anyway because it's been tried before, and Fred does not like them. Some of the house rules pertain directly to Fred himself. He prefers the kettle to remain unplugged but filled when not in use.
Fucking hell, he's got OCD or something.
I think he has. And visitors are asked to respect that to avoid incurring one of Fred's trademark destructive tantrums. Yes, the kettle thing. Oh, no rules. Fred's a diva.
Actually, it's £400 a night.
What?
I saw 60. I looked earlier.
Midweek bookings 300. Weekends 400.
Wow.
Staying in shit 50s council house.
You know, mate,
Half a month's rent.
it looks solid as fuck.
I'd go there, definitely.
I'd love to.
I'm not sure.
I'd like to go and meet Carol, to be honest.
You two got mug written all over your face, ain't you?
You want to go meet Carol, Pete?
Yeah.
You can't bang
She
Carol,
looks like,
mate.
no, she looks like a right laugh.
I'll lock you in.
I'll lock you in,
She
lock me
looks
in,
like a
Carol.
right laugh.
Lock me in, Carol. Whoa. This is crystal maze. Obviously, there has been many sightings since, and we got some video evidence and pictures. This is in the Daily Mail. This is in 2016. Right, one of those, apparently the best, a chilling image in the house known for Europe's most violent poltergeist haunting. Look in the mirror.
What we're looking at?
The mirror.
Yeah.
Now it's gonna obviously go with clothes up, isn't it?
Sorry, the reason we laugh, it's going to be the best photograph ever. It's just a picture of a kitchenette or something.
This is the landing, the hall landing,
Yeah.
and in the mirror there,
There's somebody on the stairs.
there's someone on the stairs.
It's a reflection of the person taking the photo, isn't it?
No, the person in the photo should be down
Somebody
there.
on the stairs, if you
There's
look.
nobody on
where?
the stairs. That's the sort
Go down and you'll see there'll be a close-up picture of that. So go down, I think.
Have you ever seen an old mirror that's sort of like gone a bit funny?
Yeah.
I think that's like, because they're so old. You find them on car boots all the time.
Okay, it looks like a woman from the 1940s holding a bouquet.
I was he holding some kind of rocket
Or a
launcher.
cat.
It does look like an outline of a person. I'll give it that. Is it somebody stood on the stairs?
Yeah, someone's
But
on the stairs that are
But
leaning
then,
up.
why isn't it a proper solid image of a reflection of somebody in the mirror?
Because it's a shit photo taken from a crap angle.
It doesn't look like a shit photo. It looks like quite a good quality camera, to be honest.
The foreground is excellent definition.
Yeah, so you could argue that, yeah, it does look like a figure. If it is a figure, it's not a real person, because surely there's no real definition in that. If you see the bloody banister rail fucking perfectly clear, why can't you see the person perfectly clear? Like you can the
A
banister rail.
cameraman coming down the stairs reflected in the mirror.
Yeah.
But why isn't he perfectly clear like the banister rail?
Because it's in the mirror image, isn't it?
Yeah,
What's
but the
that
banister
white-
rail's
what's that
perfectly
white
clear,
thing
and that's in the
there?
image.
What's
That's the
that?
banister
It's the
rail.
banister rail, eh?
Yeah,
That's
of
what
course.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if you can see the banister rail so perfectly clear, why can't you see the image of the person? Why does that look see-through and dodgy as fuck? So if that was an actual person, they'd be imaged just as clearly
They'd be in colour.
and they'd be just as clear as the banister rail. Because they're taking a picture of a fucking mirror. So
But it could be anything.
yeah, it could just be a bit of blur, it could just be a
Yeah,
bit
and
of...
our eyes are picking out a face and hair.
Yeah, because that's what we're
Pareidolia.
expecting to kind of see.
It's pareidolia, isn't it?
Yeah.
Potentially.
Potentially. But at the same time, potentially, well, yeah, it does kind of look like a person So who knows?
Holding a cat.
Or something, yeah.
And Mr. Bolton, who's at the picture from Stockport, you can see this on the dailymail.co.uk/news. Being there, first picture of the Black Monk. Mr. Bolton from Stockport, Great Manchester, said we arrived around 7 in the evening wandering around the house. I began taking photos like I usually do at a new location, and I took quite a few of the hallway near the stairs. And I was just stepping away at random at the house, not at anything in particular. I took 3 or 4 pictures, and one was particularly dark, so when I got home I put it on the computer to brighten it up.
There you go, he's brightened up everything else, but that picture in the mirror, that's why it's dark than the rest. Boom.
But why is the image of the reflection of the banister rail perfect?
Because it's white and shiny and it's more in the foreground maybe.
The banister rail does look very white.
It looks perfectly clear, like an actual
the problem,
reflection you'd expect.
The problem you've got with this,
if we weren't there, we can't tell.
no, is that he has digitally altered the rendition of it.
He could have put that photo in.
That's the issue you've got with it.
Yeah, you sometimes get some sort of shading, don't you?
Yeah,
And
if you've
that
lo-
would have happened on the mirror.
Yeah.
And that is the issue. The fact that he has digitally rendered it and is still saying that this is a ghost picture, I think takes it out of the picture. Because
Not
he's
enough-
digitally rendered it. It's not
enough
organic.
hard evidence.
It's
now,
not.
is
No,
it?
it's not organic.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. It's been enhanced.
We don't know what he's done to it.
You know, exactly.
No, I agree with you on that. Yeah, it's been enhanced. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that there wasn't maybe, because I do think this is a weird case. I really do. And you know, I'm not a ghost
Is there a
fan.
video at the bottom of something to do with this, or is it nothing? Is it something really different?
No, it's a different one.
Okay.
And I do think there's something weird to this case because there was multiple witnesses that didn't really touch on the main article. The local mayor, several reporters, various other people witnessed this stuff going on. And multiple witnesses, but I mean, I suppose it was 1966. No one's got a video camera, have they?
No.
At best, you've got, Christ, an
8mm.
8mm, yeah.
My friend said she went and stayed, and she said she didn't see anything, but lots of unexplainable things happened whilst she was there.
Okay.
Well, do you want to read your text then?
That was pretty much all she said. I just asked her what she saw, because I saw her on Facebook going down there, and I was like, oh, and I messaged her a couple of days later and said, oh, how was it? And she says, yeah, east side of it was pretty good. I didn't see anything, but there was a lot of unexplained things going on. I thought it was well worth it for the night out, but obviously...
Not that unexplainable then.
Well, she didn't go into detail, I didn't ask. I could have asked more detail at the time, but I didn't. I just wanted to know whether it was worth... I just said, is it worth going? And she was like, yeah, well worth going.
If I spent 400 quid sleeping in a place like that, I'd be well pissed
Maybe
off.
I want to set up a haunted house, but...
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea, actually. Maybe we could, say there was a murder in this flat and Mike's had the walls bleeding red. Shit like that.
Yeah, we could get...
Swarms of flies. And people can just sleep on the sofa and we'll just set up a tape recorder in the wall to fucking make banging noises now and again.
Sounds good.
And that's what it could be.
Business opportunity.
I mean, the Amityville house, to draw a comparison, was found to have been completely faked. Nothing matched up with what happened.
Right.
Whatever the family that lived there, and I can't remember the names off the top of my head, experience was not the same that was written in the book. The Exorcist had just come out. He wanted to keep the horror train going,
Yeah.
So the Amityville horror, these people, the DeFeo family were murdered in this house. And when the next family bought it, they had all the flies and the evil demons and the voices saying, get out. It was just basically oversold. It was exaggerated. A story was agreed upon them with the family that lived there, and it was the Lutz family. And they ended up having a big disagreement in court about, who the road should go to. And the second money's involved, the second I don't think a haunting is real.
But then
Or
you
at least exaggerated.
You look at something like the Enfield Hauntings, which you've got police that were there as witnesses, and they wrote accounts of exactly what happened.
They did put it in the official
and
police
they put
records,
it in
you're
official
right.
police records,
You're right, you are.
exactly what happened, like chairs getting thrown across the room at them and things like that in the kitchen, and the daughter, who's like 11, 12 years old, making very, very, very deep, guttural, strange voices coming out of their mouth that were very unnatural.
But as we saw with Annalise Nipples, the exorcism, I'm going to say victim, in our last podcast a few weeks ago, some people just seem to be able to tap into that throat singing.
Yeah. But
it's like a natural ability.
But that doesn't account for chairs like sliding right across the room towards.
It doesn't,
police
but
and things like that. And
you never. I mean, the Enfield part guys is what I've heard about and looked into a little bit. I'm not that familiar with it. I need to go back.
It's going to be my next choice. So
Pete's coming on a British Hauntings miniseries. I like
man.
I don't know, the Black Monk. It is interesting. The picture there, I don't know. And there's another one here, something on the stairs, possibly taken from a camera phone in a mirror.
Oh, you can like almost make out a face, can't you?
Is that pareidolia? It's 1970s stairs carpets in this country, and we all grew up with them because people buy carpets once every 10 to 15 years. So we all grew up with children of the 80s. We all grew up in 1970s stair carpets. They were a variety of strange patterns, weren't they?
Crazy.
Easily create facial image, couldn't they?
Yes.
In blurry pictures. I do believe what I saw on programs I watched on it, and when you see things on video camera, it's a bit more believable than a photo that can be very easily altered compared.
Where do we stand on ghosts generally?
See, I'm a believer because I've seen, heard, experienced a few times, so I am a firm believer.
Claire?
Not a believer. I haven't seen
not a
anything.
believer.
Sorry, Claire, go on.
I haven't seen anything. So.
No, I've never seen anything. Did a
Remember-
Ouija board though, that was kind of freaky. Oh, we did have that experience in the graveyard with the monks chanting.
Maybe, I don't know.
We're
That
teenagers
was quite
getting
high.
pissed in the...
Wasn't just me and Mike, by the way,
No,
it was
it's
a group of us.
getting pissed.
You see, we had that experience in the churchyard. Nah, there was other people there, man. It wasn't just me and you having an experience in the churchyard.
With a dirty old monk.
There was a lot of other people there. We used to get drunk in a churchyard, the group of our friends, on a Friday.
dig up graves and
you know, maybe school
fresh
fuckery. I
graves.
mean,
And it was a point where mobile phones had just sort of come out and were trendy, and you could record your voicemail. One of our friends, we were pissing about, recording his voicemail, doing some funny shit, what we thought was funny as 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds pissed in the graveyard. And then we listened back to one of them. It just sounded like monks chanting. We were like, well, what the fuck? That's not sound like nothing what we've just said. We were expecting to hear what we just said. We played this thing, it was just monks chanting. Unfortunately, it got recorded over.
No.
there's your issue.
But
So are you
at the time-
romanticising that memory?
At the time, no, because at the time I remember we were like, what the fuck is that? We could speak to people that were there, that we can
See,
collaborate.
I've had a very similar experience to that with the dictaphone.
But at the same time, it was the mid to late 1990s, and mobile phones were not these sophisticated computer
It's
systems
probably
we
an
have
explanation
today.
for it.
Maybe it was the
Probably
corruption of that
distorted.
file.
Yeah.
Sort of,
Maybe it was the car going past in the background that got distorted because the
Could have been.
microphone was only picking you up.
It did
as
sound
opposed
like
to-
monks chanting.
I'm a spiritual void, you know that? I've never seen anything. I'd love to.
I know people that swear they've seen ghosts and otherwise then sane people, but I just don't believe it until
So you see
there's
it
proof.
yourself.
Well,
It's fair enough.
I just think the other explanations.
Even if you
your
are
mind,
shown proof, that's what I mean. Unless
Yeah.
you see it yourself.
well, even then I
you
wouldn't believe it because I know your mind can play tricks on you.
It depends
You
on
do have hallucinations,
if you're.
and if you're in grief or something,
Yeah, but if you're staying in that house and you. Are
Power
you there?
suggestion.
Are you there
people
under
are
power
telling you all
suggestion?
this. They've had all
Power
these
suggestion
experiences.
can't throw marbles and shit.
You
like
want to
that,
have
can
that
they?
experience as well. You don't want to feel left out.
No, but little catapults built into the wall could.
I think if I saw something,
Peace looked at me in disbelief.
I'd
Man, I love that.
be at least 10% a believer. Because I'd be like, that couldn't happen. Because it would be puzzling, wouldn't it?
Of course it would. Depends on the circumstances. Smoking a lot of weed, you might have an hallucination.
You'd have to go into this place clean. You'd have to.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to trust your brain, haven't you?
Take some weed with me.
No, you've got to be clean when you go in. You've got to, otherwise.
Weed don't make me think.
Because
funny things there that are.
No, you've got to be clear-headed.
I ain't ready for rehab
If you go in and stay for the night, you can't have anything. You've got to stay, because otherwise, how can you trust what you've seen or heard?
Because weed.
No, it doesn't
people
matter.
that smoke weed constantly don't get affected.
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. You've got to be clear-headed when you go in.
Yes.
No matter how much you smoke or not, you've got to be clear-headed when you go in. Otherwise, nothing you hear or see can be trusted.
Yeah, I once saw a dead kid in a tree.
And that one, he wasn't on weed. That was just walking home in Dolly.
I was coming home from a friend's house, and every time you go past it, there was some flowers by a tree because apparently a kid fell out the tree and died or something. So one night walking back about 2 in the morning, I thought I saw the kid sat in the tree with a hood over, like crouched in the tree. I shit myself and ran. But no.
You shit yourself?
No. I was like, what the fuck? A dead kid in the tree! Oh, run!
Awkward hobbling because you're trying to hold in a shit.
So what was it you saw then?
Well, it's just my imagination, wasn't it?
How do you know it
Probably
was?
a gap between the leaves and all you
But
could see
how
was
do
the
you
night
know?
sky.
It was pitch black.
But how do you know? It was your imagination.
I don't.
Exactly.
That's what I'm putting down to.
But you could have seen a spirit.
I could have done, but I just don't believe
Because
it.
a spirit, they say, is like a troubled soul that has maybe died accidentally, things like that. That kid died accidentally, fell out of a tree. You know what I mean? So you could have seen that
There's
spirit.
no scientific explanation for it.
Exactly. Other than your imagination.
Yeah, which is more than likely. I was smoking a lot of
But
weed.
at the same time, what if it wasn't?
I was smoking a lot of weed, man. I couldn't see anything.
See, I've seen shit when I was in the forces, when I wasn't smoking anything or anything like that, and I was completely stone cold sober, and I've seen and heard things then. So I know I can't put it down to being a stoner.
No, but
submarines.
I still think you can have hallucinations.
I go
when
on,
you're not-
I want to know now. What did you see here?
In Faz Lane, up at Faz Lane, you had the building blocks where we all lived, and there was shower cubicle right down the end, and I was in there on my own. Must have been 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Shower cubicle late at night.
Yeah. But I could hear talking. Somebody was in there with me, and I thought somebody was in one of the shower cubicles in there with me. But I was like, first what I thought was weird is their shower wasn't on. I'm thinking, who are they fucking talking to? This was a bit before the time everyone walking around with their phones. Most people would have left their phone in their room when they were going to the bloody naffy and things like that. You didn't have your phones early 2000s attached to you like you do now. So that wasn't a thought. It was like, well, he's in the shower room on his phone. Didn't even think that. And then I got out of the shower, and like I said, he was still fucking talking. And as I got out of the shower, I was like prepared to say, "Are you going to shower up?" There was no fucker in there because I was in the end cubicle, and I had to walk past like 5 or 6 cubicles, and they didn't have doors because they didn't need to. They just had like chambers like that.
Is your mind playing tricks on you?
Tricks on you because you're all alone.
Yeah, no, that really
You could have
wasn't.
been under a bit of stress at the time.
A really vulnerable point when you're
Really
showering and shitting.
Really
You're
wasn't.
most
Maybe
vulnerable.
the water echoing down
stone cold sober.
Maybe the water echoing down the walls in that empty shower block that no one else is in created strange echoes. It sounds like voices of brain
Perhaps,
voices.
but either way, I could not explain that. But it's not like I could hear it when I left, because as I started to move, as I started to come out the shower, it stopped, and I was expecting the shower to turn on, and it never did. But there was no one in there, and I was on my own, so I couldn't explain that. And it wasn't like I was going nuts, because I fucking wasn't.
I'll be honest, I wanted a haunted
Explain.
submarine. Can you give me a haunted submarine as well?
No, I can't,
The one over
sorry.
there.
I can make it up for you.
Yeah, please do.
All right.
I want.
One day I woke up in a submarine, and there was this ghoul stood over me.
Was he radioactive?
Yeah, it was glowing.
The trouble
He
with
looked a
ghosts,
bit like Mr. Burns glowing.
I bring you peace and love.
And
And,
he was
then you
like-
bashed his face in with your regulation
And he had his
staff.
hands clasped there and he's like going, excellent.
And then you bashed
Nuclear power.
And then you bashed his face in with your stick.
Yeah, it's my cock actually.
No, was it? No.
and also ghosts defy the second law of thermodynamics. I just sort of throw that in there.
Okay.
They do.
Entropy.
You can't have infinite energy.
But either way, that's one of the experiences I've had. I've had lots of different experiences, but I could sit here for an hour or two telling you them, and just for you to mock me and
No,
make
no.
that like you completely.
Just trying to give you all the
nuts.
explanation.
No,
I'm
he's doing,
mocking
he's
it.
doing, he's doing for comedy effect.
But yeah, no, there's been a few.
Like I said, I've had family members that have said they've seen
Yeah.
ghosts.
But you never say. You know,
My mum and
yeah.
my sister, when my nan died, they went to go and clear her house. And as they were leaving, my sister said, "Oh, look, there's Nan," and they both looked up, and my nan was at the balcony waving to them. They both saw it.
Did they?
But it could have been a shared hallucination through grief, couldn't it?
Could have been.
Yeah.
It was like a week after she died or something.
My mum woke up with the dog barking. Now my old dog, excuse me, my old dog,
Weaker.
my old dog. He wasn't a barker. He didn't bark at fuck all really, unless somebody knocked on the door. He'd bark. But other than that, nothing. 3 o'clock in the morning, he started barking. Mum woke up.
So you got to hear an old knock.
Yeah, that's fine. As my mum woke up, she saw a person stood at the bottom of her bed, and she froze and woke up my dad because she thought someone had broken in, which is why the dog was barking. She woke up my dad. My dad turned over, and he was like, "Go back to sleep, you silly bitch," just like kind of thing. And she said he was there, and then he just wasn't. But she described him, and he was wearing a blue pinstripe suit with a white t-shirt and a blue pinstripe cap that matched the suit. And this is 3 o'clock in the morning.
When did you watch Peaky Blinders?
Yeah, this was like 20 years ago nearly. Yeah, about 20 years ago this was. And she just thought it was her fucking imagination. So she didn't really think much more of it. And then a couple of weeks later, she was at her mum's, and her mum was going through all the old photos because her mum was terminally ill. And this is why we all moved to Telford, to spend the last year with her basically.
You've been stuck here ever since.
Yeah. She went to visit my nan, and my nan was going through all old photos because she was dishing them out to the kids. She wanted to know if they wanted any of these old photos. And one of these old photos had a picture, and it was a family photo from like fucking 1940, or it was a really old photo. They were looking through, and my mum just went, "That's that man. That's that man." And there was a bloke in the photo that was dressed in a fucking blue pinstripe suit, white shirt, didn't have a cap on, but she was, "That's that man." And she said, "That's your granddad." It was my mum's granddad, and he died in like fucking 1965 or something, but she'd never really met him or anything. Like, she was
It's a bit
very
chilling,
young,
isn't it?
but she'd never seen him. These were photos that had been hidden away for fucking 30, 40 years, and Nan was just clearing her loft and all of the old stuff.
Is
You
it
could have
a
seen that photo back in the day, or, you know,
Yeah.
at some point back in the day, and then
Yeah, but
when she's
but
re-seen
again,
the photo.
my
in
mum,
a dream?
my mum's really straight cut. Like, she's
She was
not.
in fairies. You said she was in fairies.
She did as a kid. She did as a kid, but you always believing something as a kid, don't you? She
The way to the
likes
library
to
Christmas
believe there was some
Thundercats.
realism to them. No, she's the same woman. She's not stupid, and
Yeah, I know.
and you know my mum well enough to know what she's like, and she's not. She certainly wouldn't make things up and try and.
No,
But she believes she saw that. The fact that my
I
dog
believe she
barked,
thinks she's seen it.
Yeah, but the fact that
Doesn't
my
mean she
dog
sort of saw what
barked
she
and
thinks
woke
she saw.
up, he was the dog was obviously disturbed by something which was completely out of the ordinary, and then that happened when she woke up because the dog was barking. It's almost like he was giving her a message, perhaps, if it was what it was. And it was only about 3 weeks after that I moved up here, because at the time I was still living in Cardiff. I moved here, and my mum was telling me about it, And she only told me about it because I had my own experience, and then Mum told me about her experience seeing her granddad. I woke up in the morning at about 5 o'clock in the morning and punched some bloke stood next to my bed. I woke up and just went, "Ah!" Just panicked, and I punched the fucking wall because I was just like in bed and just swung half awake, half asleep. And
is that your usual reaction to waking you up?
Well, if you're not expecting someone to wake up and be stood right next to you, I guess, yeah. I don't think it's ever happened before.
Don't wake me up! That's what mine does, you know, it's amazing.
But I made an almighty clonk and a twatting bang because there was a futon bed that was behind my bed, like sat flat packed, and I twatted that in the wall. And my mum asked me that morning, "Oh, what was that big bang this morning? Did you fall out of bed or something?" I said, "No." And I was like, I punched some bloke. and at the same time I was questioning my own sanity because I just remember waking up, there was somebody stood there and I went to punch them.
That's
and then
a
they weren't
residual
there.
dream, surely.
No, totally. But it's just
It could have been
strange.
a local pedo.
But it was just strange that it was just this big dark kind of figure stood right next to me.
That shouldn't be funny, but it is.
And then that reminded my mum to then say, "Oh, this happened to me the other week," kind of thing. And yeah, it's just I've had lots more experiences than that over the years. That was just for instance.
Never had anything. It
You're
pisses me off.
the monks in the graveyard.
It pisses me off. No, I don't even remember that
But
well.
then they say only people with certain parts of their brain that's kind of has the ability to see shit like that.
I'm open to it. I'm like Mulder. Show me. I want to see the aliens. I want to see the ghosts.
Well, let's go to East Drive then.
And I've never had nothing. It pisses me off.
We'll go East Drive and then hopefully we'll get an experience of our own.
Because you remember Lewisham Abbey a few months ago, there was fuck all there.
Don't know, there was two scary men just come out from behind the wall.
Yeah, that was me and Pete.
See, again, at Lewisham Abbey, I've experienced stuff there. And not just me either, there was like 5 of us that experienced voice recordings on a dictaphone.
In 39 years, I've never had anything I can't fucking explain.
But I know lots of
What's your own
people like
voice?
that. Nah, we were all miles away from it. We were all like in the fucking... You know the bit where we were stood in the first room you come to when you walk down through the big main bit of the abbey?
Oh, you left the dictaphone
We left the dictaphone right halfway up the stairs, circle up.
Final verdict.
Final verdict on
Black
East
Monk.
Drive on a
Who
black
are you
Monk.
gonna call? Ghostbusters!
Oh, if only. I'd fucking do anything to be a Ghostbuster.
No, I
Seriously, I'd love that job. That's my dream job.
from what I've seen and witnessed,
Back suit, fucking ecto, yeah. Fucking, yeah.
final thoughts then?
Well, I want to bust this ghost. It's weird, because, I mean, there's certain things that can't be explained. The girl getting dragged upstairs by the hair backwards, I mean, she's doing it to herself, and she's a really good fucking actor. Or,
I didn't say that. I said she could have got the bruise on her throat herself.
Yeah, but she was dragged up the stairs.
Yeah, but she could have said that. She could have made it up. Unless
Yeah.
anybody witnessed
But
it.
what if
but
it was witnessed by the mum?
Well, it didn't say in the article, did it? It would have
No.
done.
No.
But it didn't say it wasn't.
No, but it would have done,
yeah,
surely,
no,
if it
you'd
was.
think
I'm
so.
guessing
I
that.
think it was witnessed, if I remember
They
correctly.
didn't
from my
include a lot in
research
that
on it.
article, to be fair.
Or blame Benny as a researcher.
No.
I'm not buying
Well,
it.
I knew what was going on, so that's all that mattered.
You're not buying it, Claire?
I'm not buying it.
I'm
No.
not, I'm afraid. I think it's just power suggestion.
I used to do ghosts.
From what I've seen, from what I've heard, from people I've spoken to about it, that
I mean, I'm on the
I've been
fence,
there.
obviously, but...
You can't always be on the fence on this
No,
one.
because-
You're the science officer,
I
this is
know.
the paranormal, you
I
can't be
know.
sat on the fence, you've got to
I
go,
was
no,
gonna
this
say,
is
I'm
bollocks.
99%, I think it's bollocks, but
I
there's always a
believe
1% chance.
Yeah.
It's always a 1% chance. I don't know for certain.
It's ironic that you've got this brown throw on your chair that goes horizontal stripes that looks slightly like a fence that you're sat right in front of. I go bollocks. Who hasn't? Claire?
Yeah, bollocks.
Pete? You're in for
It's a
it.
believer.
I believe it
He's a
because
believer.
what I've seen, I believe it.
Fair
And
enough,
from what
mate.
I've heard, I believe
You
it.
know, I respect
tell you
that,
what-
dude, but it's just not for me. I can't.
Alright,
I challenge you all to watch that episode of Most Haunted, see what
Yeah.
you think then.
and also I'll give a challenge to the listener. Send us your ghost stories.
Yeah.
Send us your personal experiences, and we'll do an episode and we'll read them out.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
That seems fair. Give us some creepy ones. All your best inventions. Right, you got some fucked up facts we're going to in the show, Mike?
What do you want?
Fucked up facts?
You want them?
I do. Give me those facts, fucked up facts.
Theme tune?
Facts, facts,
Fucked up facts, facts.
Facts.
Go on then, Mike. Hit us with some knowledge.
Physicists at Cornell University have proposed that there is a second twin universe.
Oh, there's more than one.
A mirror image of our own that is running backwards in time.
Yeah, so like you
Backwards
take
universe.
back from Red Dwarf.
So
Or from the dwarf.
Nod no.
So they
No.
they start as old people and grow into fetuses.
Yep, you crawl back inside your mum, basically. That's
Right,
what
if
it
your
like.
mum was fit, I suppose.
Pity.
Well, I presume she would be. Well, yeah, but you as a baby have to crawl back inside your mum's vagina backwards.
Pushed back up with a.
You're pushed back up, and she has like
Potentially with
retractions
a pair of
rather.
forceps.
She has retractions rather than contractions.
And just think about every time
sucks you up.
you
she
go to the
starts in
toilet.
labour before you're, and then you suck back up.
Just think about every time you go to the toilet, you're sucking
Sucking
up
up
shit
shit.
into your asshole.
I can't
Yeah.
imagine that's how the backwards universe works.
course
It is,
Surely.
because it is.
Of course it is.
Is it like the same as us, but just running and rewind? Then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll start at the end of the show and then we'll record it and it'll go back to the beginning and then we'll all say hello
Yeah, it's
and
just
go
an
home.
episode of Red Dwarf, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so we've established that.
Yeah, that's fucked up, innit?
Yep.
It is.
If it is a fact.
Apparently so, it's in fucked up facts. Mike's a science officer, he gets the final say.
Allegedly. I'm going to do one of you. Allegedly.
It's a proposal, it's not,
Yeah,
it's not,
yeah. No,
it's not
yeah.
evidence. Dragonflies' wings are highly effective bacteria killers. They are covered in nanopillars which tear bacteria apart if they come into contact with them.
Cool.
So we need to start like
Harvesting
Harvesting
dragonfly
dragonfly
wings,
wings.
don't we? Yeah.
Yeah, get the DNA for that.
No, just
it-
harvesting them.
Put it in the baby. Yeah, and it'll have dragonfly skin.
Fucking hell.
It'll never get ill because all the bacteria will just.
kind of fucking cool actually.
Nah, that'll backfire. That
Of course it will.
Well, when the dragonfly skin babies rise up because we can't harm them with our bullets anymore.
will. No, it's like when you don't have enough, like, you know, you don't let your kid mess and make mud pies and all sorts. You
But-
just get loads of kids with allergies and all sorts.
But to survive, haven't we got to evolve to protect ourselves against certain threats we're going to encounter in the galaxy? So maybe humans with a tougher skin might be better off living on another planet that's got a little bit more gravity than Earth.
Right, that's it then. We've got to start researching
So maybe-
how we can splice dragonflies with humans.
You know, things like that. You know, maybe that has an application into our evolution. Maybe we could artificially evolution
You
ourselves.
went a step further.
Can we
than
just
I
have their wings? Can we just like
If you want to have their wings, if you live in an environment that's got low gravity, and you can have dragonfly wings, why the hell not? And you can fly, why the hell not?
that's what I'm going to splice. I'm going to splice me some man-sized dragonfly wings.
Right, I was
Maybe you
thinking,
can have a tail dick as well and splice yourself into animals.
I was thinking more practical uses like dragonfly nanotechnology toilet seats and shit.
Ah.
What, so if you need a shit in the woods, you could just nanobot a fucking toilet seat out
The
to cover.
toilet seat
That's a great idea.
is covered in dragonfly nano whatever.
Yeah.
Stops
And-
the bacteria
yeah.
when
You never need bleach.
for public toilets, basically.
I was
things like
thinking, if you need a shit in the woods, you could have this little like projector,
What the
and
Holographic projector.
yeah.
Sucks out
Somehow
your
this nanobot collector that could form a toilet seat, so you could have a comfortable squat on a hovering seat in the woods.
How
Do
often
your
do you go
business.
shitting in the woods?
What's
to need that?
nanobots got to do with dragonfly wings?
It could be a dragonfly nanobot skin.
And then it transform into a flask, then you can use it as a flask.
Chocolate
and then it vanishes. No, it's just there. So you just sit on while you shit in the woods.
Ben, do you take a shit when you walk home from pod every
He
night?
nearly did last week.
Yeah, I did. I nearly did. Genuinely.
He nearly had a head
In
done.
the woods. The need for this
Twice,
nano
actually.
toilet seat.
You just think of you're at a festival. The Portaloos have been burned down the night before. You need to go in the woods. All of a sudden, you got a hovering, firm, stable seat to go on.
I think you'll find there is such a thing anyway, but it's like a little fold-out bloody camping stool, but with a toilet ring in it.
Yeah, but imagine if it was nanobot technology, there was dragonfly wing skin that hovered there and just provided a firm but stable anti-gravity seat.
I think we've gone off topic now.
Next fact.
Trademark me. That is a fucking winner. The portable, stable toilet seat.
Colombian drug lord Pablo Escobar once burned $2 million in cash to keep himself warm.
I've heard about him burning money before, yeah.
Well, at one point he had like 20 million a day coming in, so doesn't surprise me.
Why couldn't he just use a log?
Bit of a bad boy, Pablo. You've got to like Pablo.
At least he sort of wanted to help the community from where he came from, didn't he?
He like spent like 100 million building
Yeah.
of a football stadium, for fuck's sake. He bought them all dirt bikes. I mean, alright, I'm not saying he wasn't a bad guy. He was a bad guy. He was a drug dealer. But at the same time, he's like a Fidel Castro. It's like I kind of like him. He's a cheeky chappy.
The friendly coke dealer.
He's like, hey, you want to buy some coke? Nah, okay then, man.
I'll only shoot you once.
I don't know, he's
I'll make it quick, don't worry.
He was a psychopathic, blood-lusted murderer.
He's a cheeky chap, isn't he?
Those the Cray twins were just lark.
They were just cheeky chaps as well. But they had a code like no women, no kids, no cops. As if they wouldn't kill. That was a thing with the craze. That was an old school gangster.
Respectable gangsters.
Respectable gangsters who wore suits.
Not like these ones from the Bronx.
Or wear jeans hanging, too far down their asses.
Get a belt.
I don't know. Just my theory.
In the UK, leaky pipes waste about 3 billion litres of water a day.
I've heard that, yeah. I have heard
Shocking,
that before. And then they charge you more for your water rates because
The amount of leaks.
at least they just maintain the pipes, which probably haven't been done. Christ. If you'd have got an older state, when the water pipes were last
Well,
changed.
look what happened up at Sutton Hill a couple of years back. Remember that? When there was no water all like Sutton Hill Woodside area because the pipe had burst.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was just so degraded. And two villages, probably like 50,000 people in, had no water for like 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, it's true.
And there was
There's an estate by us, listener, by the way. 2 estates by us in Telford.
yeah, not surprising.
But in all fairness, a bit of local history here, those estates are going to be standing now. They're modernised over the years, but they're only sort of given 20, 30 year tops lifespans when they were
How
built.
can you give an area a lifespan?
'Cause they were
People
gonna build
moved
a-
into it.
Because they were knocked up quick because there was an influx of workers.
Oh yeah, them sort of prefab houses.
Prefabs, yeah, they're all prefabs, prefabricated, come in 2 halves, slot them together, boom, boom, boom.
There's quite a few of them at Dorley Way. They have like the side,
Yeah.
one side panel come off it. One by my mate's house like just before Christmas.
Yeah, so the idea was that more land would be purchased to build proper housing on, but the influx was so great that
These
there was never
houses,
time, so they
yeah.
just modernised the prefabrications.
Next fact.
Next
Yeah.
fact.
Manatees have nipples under their armpits.
Nah.
Does that mean they can squeeze milk every time they swim? If they're...
Dunno.
Oh, I doubt they've got sweaty armpits. They live under the sea, don't they?
Yeah, but they're swimming along, and maybe they're a pregnant female one, they've got nipples in their armpits, and they flap their little things, and
This
squeeze
is just a
milk
safe
out.
place where the calves can suckle, I suppose.
Yeah.
Got a manatee, and you, they're alright.
The old sea cow.
The old sea cow, alright, aren't they?
Did you know most people mistook mermaids for manatees?
Manatees for mermaids.
Yeah, sorry.
Because they're cute, but they're not mermaids, are they?
Oh,
Look at that little dog snout, they're cute.
you wouldn't be happy if you woke up next to one, let's put it that
No,
way.
well,
It's the fin,
Well-
isn't it? It's the fin.
Yeah.
That big round fin.
Yeah, it
in all
looks like...
fairness, I probably woke up to worse.
The poo of Ice Age people shows humans were eating blue cheese and drinking beer 2,700 years ago.
Well, God of the blue cheese. 2000, yeah, that's right. 2000, we're still in Roman times at that point, aren't we? Yeah, blue cheese. They're sophisticated enough to make blue cheese at that point. A bit of a cheese connoisseur, by the way. Love cheese.
You would have been right in the Ice Age, wouldn't you? It's blue cheese and beer, you would have lived
Oh,
with
fuck
that.
me, yeah. I don't got gout severely, though. You'd end up with gout massively, wouldn't you?
You wouldn't have lived long enough to worry about gout.
Yeah, probably not to be
So-
killed by wars.
Yeah. The average life expectancy was probably about 40 then anyway,
Yeah.
if you were lucky, so
Yeah, true.
you'd have been an old man by now.
That's tragic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say at least
You'd be,
3 out of 4 of us would be dead, innit?
you'd be collecting your pension.
We'd just die in some raid upon our village, we'd die defending it.
You'd probably die from a cut, infected.
Open
Yeah.
wound.
Oh man.
Childbirth for me.
Probably.
Yeah, more than likely. I mean, Christ, I mean, if you go back like to Viking times, Claire, you got 3 kids, all of them living's like, that's a massive win.
Of course.
All of them making past 7 or 8 is a massive win,
Mm-hmm.
isn't it? I mean, so much infant mortality. Tragic.
Yep. And we'll end on this one. Does anyone know what is the loudest creature on Earth?
It's a bird, isn't it?
No. It's loudest relative to its size.
Or is it a cricket?
Close.
Or something like that, isn't it? No, hold on, it's a type of things that everyone stamps on.
Cockroach.
Cockroach. It's a type of cockroach, isn't
No,
it?
but you're close. It's a little water boatman.
Right,
yeah.
yes. Yes, I have heard this one before.
They rub their legs.
Rubs their genitalia against his
Ooh.
abdomen and creates a sound over 99 decibels.
Wow.
No, I saw that on QI, to
And
be
he gets a
honest.
lot of pleasure out of it.
Oh yeah. And who hasn't done that?
Rubbing genitals on your chest.
Yeah.
I've rubbed them on some chests.
Well, on that note, see note. He gets a note. Alright, thanks for listening. I've been Ben, Dungeon the Favourite, Don't Join a Cult, and you can follow us on Facebook at Couldn't the Boy in the Post-Truth Apocalypse. Sorry, Couldn't the Boy in the PTA. No, I was right first time. SoundCloud is Couldn't the Ball in the PTA. And YouTube is Apocalypse Ball.
That's
Give us
it.
a like, a subscribe, a report, a review, a nice one would be nice. And yeah, thank you.
I've been Mike, thanks for listening, peace out, may the force be with you.
And I've been Claire. Keep an open mind, but not so open that it dribbles out your ears.
And I've been Pete. Take it easy.
Where are you doing the July path?
Take
Mike?
it easy. Slow ride.
Is that where you're doing the July path? Slow ride.
Yeah.